In the year 2000, two men walked into the headquarters of the most powerful video rental company on Earth. They had a proposal, a partnership, a lifeline that neither of them fully understood yet. One of those men was Reed Hastings, founder of a small, struggling DVD-by-mail startup called Netflix. The other was Mark Randolph, his co-founder. They were there to offer Blockbuster something extraordinary, the chance to buy Netflix outright for just $50 million. Blockbuster's CEO laughed at them, literally laughed, and sent them home. 14 years later, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. Netflix was worth $20 billion. This is not just a story about a bad business decision. This is a story about arrogance, about comfort, about what happens when a company becomes so powerful it forgets that power can disappear overnight. This is the rise and fall of Blockbuster Video. To understand how badly Blockbuster failed, you first have to understand how dominant they once were. At its peak in 2004, Blockbuster had over 9,000 stores worldwide. They employed 60,000 people. They were generating $5 billion in revenue every single year. In America, there was a Blockbuster within a 10-minute drive of almost every household in the country. The brand was untouchable. Friday night meant Blockbuster. It was a cultural institution, the ritual of walking the aisles, debating what to rent, grabbing a bag of microwave popcorn on the way out. For an entire generation, Blockbuster was not just a store, it was an experience. The company had been founded in 1985 by David Cook, a software entrepreneur who applied database technology to video rental in a way nobody before. The model was simple but brilliant. A massive selection, clean stores, and a membership system that kept customers coming back. By the early 90s, Blockbuster was expanding at a staggering rate, opening a new store somewhere in the world every 17 hours. They were, by every measure, completely unstoppable. And that was exactly the problem. Here is something most people forget about Blockbuster. They were not primarily in the business of renting movies. They were in the business of late fees. In 2000, Blockbuster collected $800 million in late fees alone. That figure represented nearly 16% of their total revenue. The entire financial model of the company depended on customers forgetting to return their tapes and DVDs on time. Customers absolutely hated it. Surveys consistently showed that late fees were the single most complained about aspect of the Blockbuster experience. People felt punished for being loyal customers. They felt trapped. They felt robbed. But Blockbuster's executives looked at that $800 million figure and saw not a problem, but a feature. This is a pattern you will see again and again in the stories of great corporate collapses. The thing that is making you the most money today is often the thing that is going to destroy you tomorrow. Blockbuster was so dependent on late fee revenue that any executive who suggested removing them was essentially proposing to tear a billion-dollar hole in the company's finances, so nobody did. They were trapped by their own success. In 1997, Reed Hastings returned a copy of Apollo 13 to his local Blockbuster store. It was 6 weeks late. The late fee was $40. He was furious, not just because of the money, but because of the principle. He had already paid to rent the film. He was now being punished again simply because life had gotten busy. That $40 late fee, whether the story is entirely true or slightly embellished, became the founding myth of Netflix. Hastings and his co-founder, Mark Randolph, launched Netflix as a DVD-by-mail subscription service. For a flat monthly fee, customers could rent as many DVDs as they wanted, with no late fees, no due dates, no penalties. The discs arrived in distinctive red envelopes. You watched them, you sent them back. Another one arrived. It was slow. It was not particularly exciting, but it was frictionless. And in the early days, Blockbuster wasn't worried at all. Why would they be? Netflix had no stores, no brand recognition, and the internet was still something most Americans accessed through a dial-up modem. But then, in the year 2000, something remarkable happened. Netflix came to Blockbuster with that offer. Buy us for $50 million. Make us your online arm, and together we can own both the physical and digital future of video rental. Blockbuster's CEO dismissed them. Reports from the meeting suggest the Blockbuster executives found the proposal almost comical. Netflix was losing money. Their model seemed niche. Who was going to wait 3 days for a DVD to arrive in the mail? It was the most expensive laugh in business history. For the next several years, Blockbuster continued to dominate, while Netflix quietly grew. But something was changing beneath the surface. Broadband internet was spreading, streaming was becoming technically possible, and a new generation of consumers was beginning to expect entertainment on demand, not on Blockbuster's schedule. To their credit, Blockbuster eventually woke up. In 2004, they hired a new team and launched Blockbuster Online, a direct competitor to Netflix's mail-order service. More importantly, they did something genuinely brilliant. They eliminated late fees. That decision alone cost Blockbuster $400 million in its first year. But it was the right move. Customers flooded back. Subscriptions grew. For a brief moment, Blockbuster Online was actually outperforming Netflix in subscriber growth. Reed Hastings later admitted publicly that he was genuinely scared during this period. Netflix's internal projections at the time suggested that if Blockbuster stayed the course, they could win. But Blockbuster did not stay the course. In 2005, activist investor Icahn took a major stake in the company. Icahn believed the online strategy was too expensive. He pushed out the CEO who had championed it and reversed course. Late fees came back. The online investment was scaled back. It was the final blow, the one moment where Blockbuster could have saved itself and chose not to. From 2005 onwards, the collapse was slow at first and then catastrophic. Netflix launched streaming in 2007. Suddenly, the DVD by mail model was already becoming outdated, replaced by something even more convenient. You no longer had to wait 3 days. You could watch anything right now on your laptop. Blockbuster had neither the technology infrastructure nor the financial resources to compete. Years of debt, the cost of reversing their online strategy, and the hemorrhaging of customers had left them dangerously exposed. In 2010, Blockbuster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. At the time of filing, they had debts of over $900 million. Their 9,000 stores became 3,000, then 1,000, then dozens. By 2013, the last corporate-owned Blockbuster stores closed. A handful of independently operated franchise stores hung on for a few more years. Today, there is exactly one Blockbuster left on Earth. It sits in Bend, Oregon. It has become a tourist attraction, a monument to a world that no longer exists. People visit it to take photographs, to feel something. Netflix, meanwhile, is now worth over $150 billion and has over 230 million subscribers worldwide. The story of Blockbuster is not really a story about Netflix. It is a story about what happens when a company becomes so comfortable with its own power that it stops being able to imagine a world where that power disappears. They had the resources, they had the brand, they had the customer base. At several critical moments, they had the opportunity to change course. They chose not to. And the truly haunting part of this story is that the executives who made those decisions were not stupid people. They were experienced, intelligent business leaders who looked at the evidence in front of them and reached the wrong conclusions every single time. That is what makes this story so important, because it is not just a story about Blockbuster. It is a warning for every company and every person who has ever believed that success today guarantees survival tomorrow. Nothing is too big to fail. Nothing is too powerful to collapse. And sometimes, the only thing standing between an empire and its ruin is one bad decision.
If you found this video interesting, subscribe to Ruin and Rise for a new collapse story every single week. Next week, the company that invented digital photography buried the technology for 30 years and paid for it with everything.